to Westport.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Best Grow Show. And I'm not just making this shit up. I talk to seagulls. I live by the beach. Everybody knows this. 8 out of 10 seagulls were like, caw. They said it's the Best Grow Show. So 8 out of 10 seagulls, Best Grow Show here. And we've got a fun guest today, somebody who I have just met and then kind of having like a more in-depth conversation for the first time, but it's already been great. I'm stoked to introduce him to our audience. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Chad. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I was like, do I use Farmer Hat Beard or do I use his name? I'm like,
you can use either, but my first name is Lou. You can call me whatever you want.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Lou. I don't know. I think I'm maybe a little bit older than you, but gosh, I'm already stoned, so I'm going off on a tangent here. But
I'm getting there.
Good, yeah, dude, and that's a wicked pipe, man. Look at that, guys. That is the Gandalf, and you do have to have a beard to have like that thing is just proper smoker right there. What did you put in there today?
Actually, I left it right here because I figured you might ask that. This is one of the new Mephisto testers that I just finished, the iced and baked that they came out with. It's a gelato cross with Mephisto's wedding, and my camera's not so great. It doesn't read very well now.
Focus, yeah. I would give you a tip, but I can never do it myself.
Yeah, but this is the last I have of those two plants that I grew, and I'm totally excited. I'm sad that it's gone, but I'm glad I have more seeds of it. So there will definitely be more of those coming up in the dirt real soon.
And that's something that we're definitely going to dive into today is we're going to talk about autos. We're going to talk, some of the pros and cons that you've noticed. Also some of the things that you enjoy. You mentioned Mephisto, which is usually one that comes up that,
it's backwards. Yeah, I got my pin right on my hat there.
There you go. So yeah, I know everything in the camera's backwards too. So that's really rad because that's something I want to learn more about. I actually have got some autos, Green Love Chef. So Chef's Cut, he sent me some autos recently, and this is actually one I was shipping out to a buddy, but it's a Skywalker auto times the purple Rockberry times Rolex. But I kept a couple different strains that he sent me because I'm going to pop some autos here and get those.
Hell yeah.
Do another watering kind of a side-by-side test of different soils with an auto.
So, yeah, for sure, man.
Coming up. I digress though, Lou. So I grew up back mid-east, I guess, kind of near Chicago and near Detroit. And Tigers, that was my dad's team, and there was this guy, Lou Whitaker, on the team. And that probably dates me. But Lou Whitaker, and I remember going to the stadium as a kid, and he was a popular player. And when he came up to bat, the entire stadium just said, Lou. And I'm like, Dad, why are they booing him? Why are they just going, boo? He's like, no, so Lou. So when I hear your name, I think of Lou Whitaker. I'm just like, just that moment. That was crazy. Why are they booing him? Of course, this was also this like, I don't know if it was the same trip or not, but Detroit has never been a good city. Well, safe city. Maybe it has. I've never been there, Ben. But I also remember, I'm like, Dad, why are there bars on the bookstore? Walking by the stadium. Like, who wants to break into a bookstore? But that's just me being stoned and off topic. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. It's all good. totally all good.
Yeah, we'll get into it here. And before we get into it, though, I want to give away some seeds. That's something that I like to do on the show. We give away a lot of seeds here, and we're going to have to do the American only for this moment. Let's see. Let me pull it up here. StreamYard giveaway tool. Clicking on it. So yeah, what I want to give away here is, let me come back to my screen. What am I giving away right now? Oh, it's already packed. See, this is how fast that they might actually get to you. I'm gonna do the Twin Peaks stuff right away. So your name can go on this envelope if you are in the US. Yeah. And what we're going to do is we're going to give away a pack of the Westport grape juice times the Afghani #1. That's something I've been giving away for a while. Or testers, people are getting tested and I've had some good results with, but I am just going to keep giving them away. And I for the show. So let's see. No, I'm not even going to put the apostrophe in there because that's going to throw people off. I'm high. How about that? Okay. So if you are in the US and you want to win a pack of the Westport grape juice times Afghani #1 that I made, go ahead and in chat, tell us how you really feel. I'm high. So go ahead and type that in chat if you're in the years. Westport's bug juice. Let's see, Claude. Westport's grape juice. Yes, that does have a grape flavor to it. It has a little bit of gas on the exhale. It's creamy. It's grapey. It's awesome.
That sounds fantastic.
Hopefully people get to enjoy it. But yeah, so I usually like to give away some seeds, and I always like to get the early birds. Everybody showing up here. We already got 75 in chat. What is up, everybody?
Going on?
I know. Thanks for showing up. It's a good conversation. We got a lot of high people in chat today, man. Everybody's high. I'm high. You're high. He's high. They're high. They're high. Holy crap, Chris Guerrero's even high.
Look at all these high people.
I know. This is fun. So, all right, let me load up some. All right, guys, keep typing that into chat, and eventually I will get back on track. I'm going to load pre-91. All right, yeah, and while I'm going to give these guys another minute or two to type in I'm high. If you're in the US and you want to win some of those Twin Peaks cannabis seeds, got the bumper stickers made.
Nice. Oh, yes. That's a cool logo.
Thank you, buddy. Long time buddy made that one for me, so
nice.
Stoked on that. Oh yeah, that's where I was going with this show. God, I am off to a good start. I'm sorry. I was going to ask, what would be your island strain? Island strain being something that, all right, you're stuck on a desert island, and I realize this can change. So if you're like, I can't decide, you can maybe give us 2 or 3, but if there were one strain, what would it be and why? Is it the profile, the effect? What would it be?
Damn, man, that is damn right out of the gate, huh?
So, no mercy.
I mean, as soon as you said island strain, I'm going to go with the very first one that popped into my head, which is Critical Plus from Dynafem.
Yes, sir.
It's an old school strain. I am specifically talking about the autoflower version, the 2.0. That was one of the first autos that I grew. And since then, I almost always have 1 or 2 of those going in my tent.
Okay.
Almost always. Actually, I don't. Ironically enough, right now I don't, because I got the new Mephisto testers and I wanted to get them in the ground. But next time, those are going in the dirt, because I've only got a little bit left of that Critical Plus, and I feel like I always have a secret stash of that kicking in my box, that I don't tell anybody about. It hits every box, man. It always grows consistent. It always produces beautiful. I mean, I wish I knew how to like share pictures on here, because I would share some pictures with you. Maybe we can work that out later somehow. But like, gorgeous colors, gorgeous flavors. I just, man, that would be my choice. And that autoflower has been, damn, I've been buying those seeds. Well, not anymore, because sadly Dynafem is having some trouble. And when I saw, I don't know, probably 2 years ago when it all started, I saw that they were having issues, and I immediately, my first response was to get on the Attitude seed bank.
Yeah.
And pretty much, and spend I was like, all right, I'm buying Critical Plus seeds. I think I bought like 40 seeds, so I would have so many of them, and now I'm down to like 22 or something like that. I'm going to be sad when they're gone. But supposedly, somebody told me a while ago that they renamed themselves Silent Seeds, and they're actually still operating, and you can still get. And I looked at it a while ago, and they still have Critical Plus 2.0 autoflower, which I'll try them when I run out, because, like I said, man, if this ever goes away permanently, I would miss it dearly.
Yeah. I mean, like Hillbilly Urban here, Dynafect packs are gold now. I totally agree. It was a couple years ago that they had really kind of moved into Spain, and they were kind of one of the larger people. And, sometimes the larger people get made examples of. And from what I understand is, the police said, hey, no mas. And they lost, they lost a lot of their stuff.
Right.
But Dynafem was doing some really cool work with CBD. They were taking traditional lines like a OG Kush, and introducing CBD to these lines. I'm like, wait a minute. When I looked at their catalog, I'm like, OG Kush doesn't have 10% CBD. And then I educated myself. I was like, oh, wow.
I actually have some of their OG Kush autoflower CBD seeds that I got. That I grow, and I make Rick Simpson oil out of it for our 12-year-old dog.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow. That's kind of full circle there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, and breaking news to me, Silent Seeds. I didn't know that, but I will definitely look into it. I can appreciate the name, the irony of Silent Seeds. It's like, okay,
right. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it anymore. Well, and also these guys had the same problem, because I believe they're owned by the same company, Humboldt Seed Organization, because I noticed that their website went down too. Yep. And I tell you, they were also among some of the first autoflowers that I tried back in 2013 when I first started growing them. And and they had they had their Lost Coast skunk was absolutely amazing. I have one of those going right now. I'll show you. It's fucking gorgeous. But yeah, it was sad to see them. I haven't seen them. They came back, and they're still doing business on some of the American websites, but they don't. The only original auto strain they still have is the Chocolate Mint OG, which is really good in my opinion. And if I didn't have so many damn seeds already, I would probably get some of it.
Now, it's making me think, you're down to about 20 seeds of the Critical Plus. And I'm just starting to play around with feminizing stuff. I bought the STS spray from Mendocino 2020. And let's see here it is. So I had bought this. And
nice.
Yep. Every plant is going to be different. Some don't want to reverse. Some will take just a little. Some will take a lot. I got lucky. The first plant I tried to reverse, which was the Westport grape juice, reversed.
No
pollinated,
shit.
Pollinated, created S1s. But I'm wondering if that might be a way where you can eventually try to keep your seed stock of that Critical Plus, because I keep clones forever, but that's one thing you can't do with auto. So you need to make sure you have a ready supply of
exactly. I actually thought about trying to do that endeavor. Like I can't do it inside because I've got all my other plants in there. So it would be something I'd have to try to do outside. I'm not gonna lie, man, I hate growing outside.
No, I don't. I can't climate wise here. It's a whole other ball game.
Yeah, right. It's probably you're in Washington, you said?
Yep.
Yeah,
Right on the coast. So weather doesn't allow me, but
yeah, we probably have similar ecosystems as you here in Vermont, man. It's it's
cold.
freezing. It's freezing by September. It's rainy, it's moldy, it's windy. I've never ever been able to match the quality of my indoor buds growing outside. I stopped altogether.
Yeah. There's it's hard, and that's one thing that I do love about indoors. You have so much control. You can kind of control what pests are going to show up. You can kind of control the wind. You can control the rain. All of these things outside, it really is it's another ball game. But I do think autos are a great thing for outdoor growers. That's how outdoor growers in Washington are using them on a commercial scale. Is they're getting more out of their field. They're planting the autos in between the regulars. They harvest those early, and then they still have a late harvest of their regulars. So it's an efficient, very efficient tool for a lot of commercial growers out here.
Hell yeah. And I think, anytime I talk to a new grower, a new potential grower who wants to grow inside, I usually always recommend that they grow autoflowers off the bat if they want to have, if they only have one spot or if they want to have a continuous thing going on. And it's just worked great for me over the years. So, whenever anybody asks me what to do, I try to get them to do exactly what I do. That way I can say, if you do it like that, you should have good results.
Right? Just do it like this and hopefully it'll work.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's give this away. These seeds that we're talking about here, the Westport grape juice times Afghani #1. Let's give those away real quick, and then let's jump into the topic of the new grower and giving them some suggestions, and maybe run through your process of how you came to Mephisto seeds, or
right on,
how you got there.
While you give away the seeds, I can hear my dehumidifier bucket beeping right across the room here. So I'm gonna go empty. I'm gonna go empty that real quick. So I'll be right back.
Perfect. All right, everybody. This is again for US only right now. Hillbilly Herb is in chat, so we may have a Canadian competition for you, but I'm gonna pull the magpie rule on you. And yep, that's what my DHU sounds like too when the bucket's full. That's hilarious. You can hear it. All right, so everybody, on 3, I'm gonna hit roll. Good luck to you, and I will get these out to you this next week. We got 40 in here, so let's draw. I'm high, which explains about the first 15 minutes.
I'm so high right now.
Tell it. Staggering Productions. Right on. Staggering Productions. Let me write this down. Congratulations. If you are in the US, you've just won yourself a pack of the Twin Peak beans, the Westport grape juice times Afghani #1. Just go ahead and type up in chat that yes, you are in the US, and then I will have you get a hold of me through Instagram. And just so everybody knows, my contact info, but more importantly, the guest's contact info is down in the show notes. So you want to give him a follow on Instagram, please do. You want to check out his YouTube channel, which is great. Definitely do that. But all those are down in the show notes. So you can hit that up. And Staggering Productions, big ups, dude. Oh.
Hey, he's in the USA.
Big ups. There we go. Big ups. Hit me up, man. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. And thank you for participating in chat. Like, I definitely appreciate everybody watching. You guys could be anywhere else right now. You're here. But especially for those people participating in chat, you all know that it's lively and it's fun. And sometimes you guys go off on your own subjects aside from what we're talking about. And then we meet back in the middle. But that's the community is what makes the show fun. So keep on rocking with your bad selves. We're gonna now we're gonna flip back into it. We're gonna talk about autos. So you said you like to maybe recommend autos for new growers.
I do.
Yeah.
So I do a perpetual autoflower grow. So I have a 4-foot by 8-foot tent. And I've got anywhere from 8 to usually maybe 12 plants at any given time. And I'm always planting something new, and I'm always harvesting something new. Every couple of weeks, it's like something new, something new, something new. Um, and when, a lot of people I talk to don't want to grow, they don't want to have, they may not have a bunch of money to invest, they may not have a lot of space. And I always try to recommend it. It's got a friend of mine set up a few months ago. I finally convinced her to get a 2 foot by 4 foot tent with a good light. She went with AC Infinity, which is like, that's really good shit now.
Yeah.
And now she's doing 3 autoflowers in there, but she's planting one every 4 weeks is what she's doing. So she's got a little one, she's got one that's a little bit bigger, and then she's got one that's, maybe 2 or 3 weeks out from being done at this point. I told her once she gets going and she gets a little better at it, she'll probably only end up being able to fit 2. But I had her start with 3 because I figured it'd end up a little small.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've smashed more than that in a 2x4. So yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. You should. I mean, you certainly can. There's no reason you can't. I grow
Doesn't
one.
Mean you should, but
right. I usually grow. I grow one. I have a 2x4 in my room as well, and I grow one photoperiod plant in there at a time, in addition to my autoflower grow. So I've got one. Actually, it looks pretty cool when I show it to you. It's a cookie strain that came out a couple of months ago. My son went nuts and spent a ton of, $125 on 3 seeds. I was like, you're out of your mind, dude. But anyway,
yes.
So it looks really nice. I'm definitely interested to see what she does when we flower her in a few weeks. So, But anyway, yeah, I recommend. I always, whenever people start, getting them to, I try to get them to wait. They want to start. I'm like, wait, don't start yet, because you don't have anything. People always come to me, where do I get seeds? Where do I get seeds? I'm like, don't worry about seeds right now. Right now, you got to figure out your budget. You got to figure out your space. You got to figure out how you're going to control the climate in that space. Then you got to figure out, what
that's really good
buckets
advice.
you're gonna. People should. Sometimes I can't tell you how many times people send me a picture of an autoflower seed in a solo cup that's like that tall, and it's like lanking over, and they got it in the windows, and they're like, what can I do to fix this? And I'm like, you should probably start over at that point. They're like, oh, I don't have a light, I don't have a tent. It's like, there are some things that you need before you can really start. So I always tell everybody, don't start. Figure out your budget first, and then do research and try to gain at least a rudimentary understanding of what it is you're trying to accomplish before you start. And if you spend a little time doing that in the beginning, you're going to have a lot more success on the first go.
Amen, dude. You're dropping gems, which is so true. Seriously, people don't talk about it. And it's like, I said earlier, patience. But if you can't discipline or wait until you acquire these things or have it set up, you're not doing yourself any favors for when it comes to growing. So that's really good advice.
I mean, it frustrates people. People get frustrated. And if they start with autoflowers, they get mad at the autoflowers. And they're like, oh, these seeds suck. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And like, a lot of autos get a bad rap because on one end, people say, oh, they're wicked easy, they're automatic. But that's not the case at all. And on the other end, there's a learning curve. There are things that are the same as a photo, and there's a lot that's different. And once you find that balance, you get into the group. You should have seen the very first autoflower I ever grew. It was like 2013, and it was a lowrider autoflower from the Joint Doctor. Like one of the first ones that came out, man.
Literally, the Joint Doctor is the guy who brought it out, and Lowrider is the strain that first came out. So, like, history here. That literally is like the first autos we're talking about.
It was garbage.
That's what most people say, but it was
and to boot, I had never grown a plant inside in my life before. We decided. My wife decided she wanted to start growing. So she bought this closet, little all-together closet with like a 6-part hydro system, and we got 6 seeds from the weed that we had, because all the weed we had seeds back then, probably, at that time. And in 6 days, we had 6 dead plants. There's pumps, and I was like, I don't want to do this hydro again. I'm like, do you mind if I pull all this stuff out and throw a pot of dirt in here? And that was when I found the lowrider. And I have a picture of the plant. It's hilarious looking. But I mean, I don't know what the hell I was doing at all. I'm sure it probably would have been better if I did. But the second ones that I did was from Sagamartha Seeds, and they had a double diesel rider, which I grew outside, and that came out gorgeous.
Okay.
And then from there, I found Dynafem, and I pretty much stuck with them in Humboldt until I finally pulled the trigger to try Mephisto. And man, I've been on that train ever since then, for sure.
A lot of people have, again, me not being super versed in the auto world, that is a name I hear time and time and time again. So
for good reason, good reason too.
Yeah. Totally. I should totally preface that too. It's never bad things. It's always good examples. Now, is that because maybe they have more marketing, or they're just better at exposure, or do their genetics, in your experience, compared to some of the other ones, like really speak for themselves? Because word of mouth advertising is the best you could ever get,
That's for sure. I mean, they definitely, when I first saw their logo on, I think it was on Attitude Seed Bank, and I was looking to just buy some Dynafem seeds at the time. And I used to be on the Roll It Up forum on the internet forever ago. That's where actually the Farmer Hatbeard name came from, because it was like, what do you want your handle to be? And I'm like, I don't know, Farmer Hat Beard. Okay, yeah, that works. And it kind of stuck from there. But somebody was talking about Mephisto genetics on there, and I went on to Attitude, and I was like, I've never heard of any of these before. They had like Tyrone Special, they had Alien versus Triangle, they had the 24 Karat, the Hubba Bubba Smelloscope, and I'm like, I've never heard of any of these. So I was reluctant at first, and I'm getting older now, and I'm like, if I find something that works, I try not to fuck with it. I try to just keep doing the same thing, So it was a big jump for me to pull the trigger on the Mephisto, and I finally decided to do it. And man, I was blown away right off the bat. I was like, wow. They were like, not only are these plants just as good as the Dynafem and the Humboldts that I was growing at the time, they didn't get as big per se. But I mean, you also got to remember that I had only been growing for a couple of years at that point, 2 or 3 years, really, So I'm sure part of it was me. But the frost and the smells and the colors that were coming off of those plants was like, wow, I need to get more. And I've been hooked ever since. The problem is they were at the shop. They didn't open the shop. It was only open on every other Monday for a certain amount of time, and you had to it was like getting tickets for a concert. You had to get in line and
right.
You had to get your orders. And so what I ended up doing was, like, when I would order seeds, I dropped like $300 at a time. To make sure I had plenty to last me, because I always have this paranoia that someday we weren't going to be able to buy seeds anymore. So, I ended up with a whole crisper drawer in my fridge full of seeds.
That's why I started making seeds for myself. Like, I knew Med was going to cut off one day, and I'm like, we're not going to be able to get these. So that's how it all started. But no, please continue.
So, yeah, I mean, Alien versus Triangle, Tooth Decay, that Tyrone Special really stuck out. And then I just started buying more and more of them. And at this point now, I think, let me look at my chart, my calendar over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything in my tent right now is Mephisto, except for the one Humboldt skunk that I have in there. Yeah. So I ended up with quite a backlog of seeds. I will probably die of old age before I have a chance to grow all of them. And now to boot. So, I've been growing these seeds for a long time now. And a few months ago, they actually reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be a tester for their unreleased strains. They made me a moderator on one of their Facebook pages. And so I mean, it feels great to have them reach out and say, "Hey, man, we love the way your plants look and your pictures are great, and
Yeah.
we'd love to send you shit that nobody else has." And I was like, "Hell yeah, you can send me stuff that no one else has."
Did you have to stroke the beard once or twice, or were you instantly just like, hell yeah?
No, I was in right from the get go. Yeah, I was all over it. I was like, "Hell yeah, man!"
I would have
I
been
mean,
like, I'd been like Cuba Gooding Jr. You had me at hello. Of course.
yeah, exactly. I think I was sitting at the stove with my wife one day. Like the kids were in school and we were, sitting there talking, and all of a sudden I was like, "Bing!" on my phone. I was like, "Oh, I got a message from Mephisto Genetics directly." I was like, "Whoa, cool, really?" I'm like, "Oh, check it out. Yeah, nice, awesome." So yeah, that's really, really cool.
That's awesome. I still geek out sometimes when I see people. There's the other day, I'm an old skateboarder as well, and I made a comment on this guy Steve Caballero's page, and he liked it, and I was like, oh my god, Steve Caballero, I like my post.
I recognize that name. My brother and his friends used to ride when we were kids, and I could never stand up on one of them, so I used to just follow them around on my bike like a poser.
Nah, you had the bike. You had the ball buster right there.
Yeah, exactly.
So with a lot of the seeds, because again, autos, they're not something that you're able to clone. So if you find that magic one, you can't hold on to it. But the bright side is there's seeds readily available. So what is the phenotypic variation through the seeds? Like if you plant 10 seeds, are you going to get 8 that are similar, or like 4 that are similar?
I mean, it's dependent on the strains. I think what my experience has been with they've got, like, Mephisto has 3 levels. They've got the artisanal, and then they have the limited editions, they have the originals, and then they have another category called the Illuminatos. The Illuminatos are F1 crosses, but some of their artisanals, they've got stabilized to, I think, F6.
Okay,
F7
so
on some of them. So very, very little on the higher ones. There's very little variance in phenotypes. On the Illuminatos, you definitely find, some of them, some of them are like, holy crap, and then every once in a while you get one, you're like, I mean, it's good, but nothing totally remarkable stood out for. I have found magic. One of my favorite things about Mephisto is the freebies they send you. And typically they send out crosses, experimental crosses as freebies, that are either untested or I don't know, maybe accidental, who knows? But man, I have found some gems. This one recently that I harvested from them was a cross of their Cosmic Queen and the Mango Smile.
Okay, I am familiar with those.
Man, Jesus. The colors and the size. The first one, I grew one time just to try it. I still got a bunch. I had like 20 of them, and I popped one, and that thing outgrew my tent. Oh, wow. It like literally wouldn't stop. I'm like, all right. Usually I top my plants. I top my autos once.
Okay.
That's normal for me. I don't think it increases the yield much, but I really like the even canopy. I think the yield probably stays about the same, But when I planted these Cosmic Queens again, I was like, I am purposely gonna beat these girls down and like try to like keep them low. I topped them twice. I was bending them and trying to stretch them. I practically, mainlined one of them, and I was able to keep it only about, 2 feet tall, but it was just this big crown of gnarly buds, just like, like that big. It was gorgeous.
Were they, did you notice any difference maybe in the potency of the buds or the profile? Because a lot of times, I'm always here, people are like, you can't breathe wrong on the autos, otherwise, they're not going to grow. But you're topping them and bending branches, which I have seen others do.
Oh, but yeah,
did it affect the final quality at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think when what they need is available, they're going to thrive. The worst thing that you're going to do that's going to happen is they may end up smaller, because it's true. Autos don't love stress. You know, we talk about pros and cons. You know, with a photo period, you have unlimited recovery time if you have an issue.
Right.
You can, right down to just cloning it and starting over. You know what I mean? You can do anything you want to them. Whereas with an autoflower, if you get too much stress, it's going to affect something. Depending on where you get that stress, if it's nutrient related stress, from either overfeeding or underfeeding, then it's definitely going to affect the quality of the final product for sure. Okay. I think definitely.
Okay, well, that's interesting. That kind of leads into a question we had here in chat. John was asking me, he said, are you doing auto pots with the auto beans water only? And yes, I am going to do, I should. I think I'm going to try to do the auto pots because that would be more scientific because, again, they're getting equal water with the auto pots. And I was going to do some water only soils. And that's why I reference it right now, is just because these water only soils, they come with a nutrient charge in them already. So hopefully, it's not too strong or maybe shocking the young auto roots. I'm going to do a couple different brands, and then I was going to do Grow Dots as well. So Grow Dots is more of a time released nutrient versus a like preloaded soil. So 3 soils, and that is what I'm going to try.
Nice.
But for starting your autos, do you start them directly in like your potting soil, or do you use like a
Yep.
Oh, okay, so full strength potting soil, or is there
no, and that's like whenever I see somebody going and put an autoflower seed into living soil, I'm like, wait, don't do it. You're gonna be sad. If I showed you the Sohum, that's what I use now, Sohum soil. The first time I tried that, I was talking to one of their reps on Facebook, and he was like, I really want you to try the soil. I think you'll like it. Da, da, da. He sent me a couple bags, and I grew. I think it was a Mephisto strain. I forget which one it was, but I filled the pot up and I planted the seed directly in it, and that friggin' plant was like the size of a Coke can. The whole plant. And wow. It was just one, it just like it almost looked like a cactus the way it grew, because it was just a bud sticking up out of the ground. I was like, oh well, that didn't work very well. So then I tried it again with the Critical Plus, and what I ended up doing was taking out a big portion of the middle of the pot after I filled it, and I filled that up with, I don't know, I think I was using Happy Frog at the time or something like that, and they grew a hell of a lot better. Okay. Over the years, I've streamlined and refined, I've refined the process. So now what I do is I layer the pots. I put the Sohum soil on the bottom half of a 5-gallon pot. Okay. And now I'm using Coast of Maine seed starter on the top half of the 5-gallon pot. And I'll even use I've heard the term Cyclops method get thrown around among autoflower. I didn't know that was a word. Like, I just decided to try this thing. I was like, oh, if I put this cup in here, I can make seed starter go all the way to the bottom. And I didn't know what to call it. And then I heard someone call it Cyclops. I was like, oh, that's a good name for it. Anyway, so I'll do that. So I'll make a pillar of seed starter that goes all the way to the bottom of the pot. And then I'll put the seed starter on the top and the Sohum on the bottom. And usually with water only, it's enough to get through all the way until flowering starts to happen. I do use some recharge. I definitely am going to try those Grow Dots that you were just talking about at some point. My go-to dry amendment has been earth dust for the last few years. But sadly, again, the Green Sunshine Company went out of business a little while ago, so they're not selling that anymore. And fortunately, I had a lot of backstock of it, and I'm still going through it. But I'm like, man, I'm starting to panic. Like, I need to find a new dry amendment to use when I run out of this stuff. I have some Dr. Earth Flower Girl that I've tried out a few times. That's working really well. I mean, it's almost the same. And then I heard about the Grow Dots, so I'm definitely going to give those a shot too. Gaia Green is another one that people keep recommending to me that I'm probably going to give a shot to at some point.
That's another one that I hear kicked around as well. Kiss Organics is one that I like to use for my dry amendments. Typically, that's all I need, because I'm in the Sohum Living Soil as well. And I dig the soil. It's been treating me right. If I follow their recommendations for size of the container versus duration of grow, I get pretty good results.
Yeah, hell
And
yeah.
it was kind of funny that, you mentioned you put it in there and you had the Coke can bud after that first one. I was rolling with some regulars when I first transferred into that soil, and holy they just took off, man.
They love photo periods.
Took
Love it.
off, just green, happy, lots of growth, and it wasn't stretchy either. It maintained the same like nodal spacing, so spacing in between branches. But yeah, dude, it just shot up, and I'm like, ooh, there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah,
But I haven't started seeds in it, and I think actually they're working on a blend, a special blend, like seed starter, clone starter blend.
I'm actually trying out some of those right now. I just finished 2 runs with 2 different mixes that they sent me to try out, because they're trying to find that like perfect balance for starting seeds, and specifically for autoflowers. We didn't hit the nail right on the head, but we got really close. They're working another mixture that they're going to send me to give a shot at some point soon too. But yeah, the last one, they originally sent me a product. I forget the name. I think they were calling it Root Master or something like that. And they were like, plant the seed. I said, all right, I'll sacrifice the seed to try it.
Right.
So
you're not getting
I planted the seed. Right. No, actually, I believe that's exactly what I did, because I wanted one that I was super familiar with and knew. And in my experience, this is another thing that I'll just throw out there. In my experience, Mephisto genetics, a lot of their strains tend to be very sensitive to nutrients. Too much nutrients can really send them into a tizzy early off. So that's why I started doing this layering method, because I wanted to find that good balance between giving them a real nice light start and then giving them full power when it's time.
Right.
So the seed starting mix that Sohum sent me worked really great as a seed starting mix. I actually used it for my last photo period that I'm growing right now, because the Coast of Maine seed starter is great for autoflowers, but it's not quite strong enough for photo period plants. So I end up usually I'll mix a little Sohum into the Coast of Maine, just like, I'll mix 3 to 1 just to cut it down a little bit. Yeah, exactly. But then when I transplant that photo, it goes right into the full strength Sohum, man. And they love it. And typically, I don't think I've ever had to amend one of my photo period. Actually, that's not true. The last ones we did 2 7-gallon pots, and I ended up having to use top dressing on those ones because 7 just isn't quite big enough. I usually use, if I do 1 photo period plant, I'll use a 15-gallon pot for the final one. And
big size, plenty of juice.
I never have to add anything.
No, yeah, plenty of juice. And I have some of the 7-gallon auto pots, and I can typically get a full run if it's a quick veg cycle. Again, following their guidelines and timelines. But one cycle, I went extra longer in veg just because I wanted larger plants to fill out the tank. And I did. I top dressed with the Kiss Organics. They just have it's just called generic nutrient pack.
And that works. That's one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I heard you talking about the autopods. If you're bottom watering, is the top dressing still as effective? It still work?
I turn off the system when I top water for about a week. So
I'll let
it get like dry for a day or 2.
Okay.
Apply my top dressing, and then I'll water it in, usually for 2 or 3 cycles.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, because I was wondering how that worked.
Yeah, I mean, to my surprise, though, I wondered how far a autopod, a bottom feeding system, would bring water to the top. I kind of expected to like stick my hand in the top and just get dry, but you go down less than an inch and it's moist soil. So all the capillary action, all those little feeder roots are just bringing that water from the bottom to the top.
Oh, that's amazing.
The soil does stay moist at top, but that very like top layer where your top dressing would be, need to get some water on
that makes sense.
I don't think it would as effectively kind of leach its way into the system.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I want to try. I want to try some of this the seed starter stuff. I kind of like you were explaining. I was right now with I'll do the little 4-inch pots for the seeds, but I'll put about this much of the full strength Sohum in there, and then I'll do about this much of last run soil because I don't have anything else that's spent, so I use a little bit of last run soil.
And that's good to get them started. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then the Cyclops method too. It's funny because you mentioned that you're like, I've been doing this. I just never had a name. Same here. I didn't have a name for it. And then I went to the Sohum site, or I was talking with John from Sohum, and he's like, yeah, the Cyclops method. I'm like you. I'm like, well, that makes sense. That's a good name. I
wonder if they came up with it.
I have no idea, but I've been doing it for a long time. Just never had a name for it.
That's funny.
Yep. And actually, speaking of Sohum here, in between our transitions, we're going to get to the garden here, but I got a little giveaway from Sohum. This is for, another U.S. only. Here we've got our Sohum shirt. Got cool logos. Got some logos on back here.
Oh, I want that shirt.
Yeah, I want it too, but I'm an extra large, and I got sent some larges, so I've got to make some use of them. So, and we've got your stickers packs. Everybody loves stickers. What else was there in there? Oh, there's some joint tubes we're gonna throw in there.
Nice.
Some Sohum joint tubes. So
all kinds of swag.
I know. I got some good, and the best part, this is kind of what I love about some of their stuff. I'll even send it to you in a mini Sohum soil bag. Those the cutest little things. Let me blow this up here. It's like the cutest little, like a little bag of soil, but nope, let's put your t-shirt in there. So I'll send some of those out, and this is going to be a 2-parter because there's a lot of people who watch the show that are like, man, I can only ever watch this on replay. I'd love to win some beans. I'd love to win something. So I've got 2 shirts, 2 stickers, 2 sets of the Doob Tube. So we're going to do one here in a little bit on the show if you wear a large and you're in the US, and then we'll do the other one for people watching the replay, and I'll explain that when we get to it. But I was like, hey, we're talking about Sohum soil at the moment, so I might as well get to the giveaway prepped. Got a few things to give away because I like cheeseburgers too much. So I'm an extra large, damn it. Yes, not sure he's a mini soil bag. Yes, very good. So cool. All right, so we're going to give those away, and then we're going to get into the garden soon. We're kind of talking about like autos and beginners and starting out with an auto. One thing that I always discourage people from, and I don't know what your thoughts are, and truth be told, there's both right answers. So what do you think about pot size for autos? Do you start it in like you mentioned solo cups, or do you start it in like the big 15-gallon size? What do you see there?
I start 99% of my autos in 5-gallon fabric pots, and they live there the whole lives.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
So no transplanting. 5 gallons is a good size.
Yeah, I think any bigger than 5 is a waste. I've tried 7 a few times, and I didn't really notice any difference. When I first started, I used to use 3-gallon plastic pots, and then a buddy of mine gave me a 3-gallon fabric pot. He's like, "You got to try this." And I was like, "I don't know. It makes a fucking mess. There's water everywhere." And he was like, "No, you dumbass. You got to put a saucer under." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." So,
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, yeah." So anyway, I eventually decided to try a 5-gallon, and I did it like a side by side, and that seems to be for me the sweet spot. Any more is kind of redundant, and any less doesn't quite give it its full potential. Although I will say, if you're growing in cocoa and feeding every day, with a liquid nutrients, 3 gallons probably fine, because you can push it. You're watering and feeding it every day. But with the living soil, I think 5-gallon is pretty much where it's at. You know, the hard part is finding that balance, like I said before, about giving it a light enough start so the plant can get established and not stress out in the beginning, and then having the stronger stuff. And I think the layering works really well. And what I end up doing usually is around 30 days, 28, 30 days, I'll do a top dress with the Earth Dust Boost. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, if I think it's going to need it, I'll do another one of the top dress. And then other than that, it's recharge a little bit here and there. And then just plain old water.
Okay, that'll do it. Because that, you know, watering tends to be one of the biggest issues people have initially, whether it's auto, whether it's regular watering. Is watering a seedling can be challenging to people. And yes, when they have a larger container, I see a lot more people overwatering it. Doesn't mean that it has to be that way. And there are methods like a shot glass method or something I've heard, but how do you deal with that initially? Because it's, you know, big man, little coat, but it's reversed. It's little plant, big container. So how do you deal with that?
So when I fill my pots to plant, my soil is usually really dry. The Sohum ships really dry for the most part, so it's nice and dry. The Coast of Maine seed starter that I get locally isn't always dry, but if it's not, I leave a bucket out in my dry room with the dehumidifier to dry it out a little bit more. But it's never really wet. After I fill my pot, and you'll see if anybody watches my YouTube video, you'll see that after I fill the pot, I'll put my hand in the dirt and make a big indent in the middle. And then I'll take some seed starter in a bowl, and I'll put a little mycorrhizae in there and some water, and make like literally a mud pie that's just like a sopping wet mess. And then I dump that into the hole that I made in the pot. And you let that settle down for a minute or two, and then it's like a perfectly shapeable, you know, like making sandcastles at the beach with the wet sand, you know, and you can just stick your knuckle down in the soil and make a little spot for your seed. And that right there, that amount of moisture, it doesn't stay muddy for long, because the dry soil around it will take some of that away and leave it good. But I put that in, I put my seed on it, and I put a humidity dome right over it, and then I do not touch it until I see sprouts. And that's usually 5 to 7 days. And then once I take the humidity, and then you'll see when you take the humidity dome off after it sprouts, that it's still pretty visibly wet in that area. And when it starts to dry out the first couple times, I'll just take a spray bottle. You know, I'll go around the plant. I'm doing a video journal for I'm doing a video journal right now for the Sunday Thumpers. And I just was editing down some clips to make it a little less daunting at the end, because I still have I still have like a lot of time to go. I'm looking at my calendar, I don't even see it. I still have like 8 weeks to go or something like that. It's a lot of videos to edit together. But so I'll just take a spray bottle and spray around the outside and give it, 15, 20 squirts. Or if it looks really dry, I'll take a measuring cup and just measure a cup of water and just very, very gently and slowly pull it around there and make it, keep that area moist. Then what I usually do is, after I get that moist, I'll start to moisten up the whole pot, because you want your living soil to get moist when it's going to do its thing. So usually at like a week or so, like once they're above ground for like 7 days, I'll put the pot in my saucer, and I'll pour a half a gallon of water all around the edges of the pot, and let it drip down the sides and sit in the saucer, and the soil over the next half an hour will suck up all the water that's in the saucer, and then the whole pot feels heavy. And then that's usually it for another week.
Not overwatering can happen, and that's always the hard thing to gauge with the root zone.
It's all about once the plant is growing well and established, it's all about the weight. And I always tell, I did a watering video on my YouTube channel. I had a little splurge. I hadn't put up a new video in like a year and a half. And I was like, I gotta get something. People are asking me for news. So I was like, I finally got motivated. And my wife showed me a cool phone app to use, so I didn't have to sit at my computer. So I was like, all right, sweet. I can make videos right here. Awesome. I'll do 3 videos today. And I did a watering one, and I was like, I kind of feel like a dick because I was like, all right, let's see if this plant needs water. And I went and I lifted up the pot, and I was like, no, this plant doesn't need water. And people are like, well, how do you know? You have to familiarize yourself with how heavy your pots are and your growing medium. You're like, if you're growing cocoa, you got to let it dry out in between. But with living soil, you always want it to be moist, but not wet. And I think that's why those auto pots are gaining a lot of traction, because it always has water available, so it only takes what it wants.
Yeah, they're
for sure.
They're such a great system, and you're right too. The soil weighs different. Like, and a perfect example is like a Fox Farm Ocean Forest. Pick up a bag of that, and pick up a bag of the Sohum. You can pick up like 2 or 3 Sohums for the weight of that Ocean Forest.
Yeah.
So just knowing how to water them does make a big difference. So I'm glad you mentioned that too.
Yeah, it is. That's one of the trickiest things is people ask me all the time, exactly how much water should I give my plant? And I'm like, I have no idea. Depends. I would have to come to your house and lift up your pot to be able to tell you how much water to give it.
Totally. It depends. That's my favorite answer to everything. But it's true. It depends on, there's so many variables. Like I tend to take things for granted. Like somebody asks me like a piece of grow advice, and immediately I'll start to be like, oh, well, this is what I would do. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Are you indoors? Are you doing it this way? Because that's where my information's come from. So it's, a good answer usually starts with it depends. But you do this enough, and the cool thing is I talk to you, I talk to other people, I get to learn as well. So it's like crowdsourcing information. We only get so many chances in a year.
Right, exactly. And the way you learn is through experience.
Yeah.
I've been I still do. I still mess around and it's like, oh, I'm gonna try, doing something stupid to this plant and seeing what happens. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is. A good thing, one quick thing on the watering, a good thing that I recommend to people is to take a pot, fill it up with the soil that you're going to grow your plant in, and leave it somewhere. Don't put a seed in it, just leave it somewhere. When it's time to water your actual plants, lift that up and then go lift up the other one that's going to be pretty dry by then. That way you get a balance between what does this feel like when it's dry and what does it feel like after I put a gallon of water in it. Sometimes you go and you pick it up, sometimes because I always start on one end of my tent and I pull all my plants out as I water them. And sometimes I'll pick up one plant in the beginning and go, no, that doesn't need water, and I'll put it away. But by the time I get back to that one, when I'm putting them away, after I've lifted up a bunch of plants, just got a gallon or a gallon and a half of water, and it's like really friggin' heavy, then I'll go pick up the first one and go, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to give that one 4 cups of water. You know what I mean? Just to make sure. But
that's another Jay. You're dropping gem after gem today. You're like a jeweler over here, because that's true. I do that myself. I did that last night. I went through, I kind of lifted things. I'm like, okay, these need watering, these 2 don't. And by the time I got done watering everything and I went back to those 2, I'm like, all right, this one could use a little bit. You still know, but yeah. And it was just off of, weighing the heavy ones after I watered. So that's a good thing. Another thing you mentioned too, that I thought was great is you mentioned, the size of the containers, like a 5-gallon or a 7-gallon might be the max. The 3-gallon is what you started with. For autos, I always love to inspect my root balls. And that is one thing I had in mind too. It's like, if I'm using a 5-gallon plant with a short veg and the flower, do I really need the 7-gallon? Look at your root ball. Am I using as much soil as I can? Because if you're really not, then there may be other things holding you back. But just because you put it in a 1,000,000-gallon container doesn't mean it's going to grow like way better than a 10-gallon, because the 10-gallon is enough. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, and that is, for autos again. But root balls, is that something that you ever look at?
Does that interest you? Not on purpose. Usually, when I after I cut my plants down, I'll take my buckets out into the side yard, and I got a mountain of used dirt out there, and I usually dump my buckets out there, and I have a compost behind that too. So typically every springtime after the snow melts, I'll go out there and shake off, pull out the big stalks that were sticking out, because by then they've all broken down and they shake out really easy, and then I'll throw it. And then that soil there, I'll mix it all up and let it sit for years. And then usually every summer I'll plant some veggies in pots. So I'll use some of my old 5-gallon buckets that I didn't feel like washing, and I'll bring those out back and grow tomatoes and peppers or whatever in there. And they love that used soil, man. They thrive in it. They thrive in it.
That's where mine goes.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't feel like I'm wasting the soil. And if like any of my friends are like, dude, can I come dig up some dirt out of your yard? I'm like, sure. I got a ton of it out there. You can do whatever you want.
And outdoors is I take more of the living soil approach, like true living soil approach of just like regenerative, feed it a few, like FPJs, give it a few natural ingredients just to kind of keep that internal micronutrient cycling process going. Indoors, for sure. With a short cycle plant that I leave in a 7-gallon container for 3 months, I don't. I like the idea of it. Maybe if I was doing larger beds, but indoors I don't, and outdoors I do. So yeah, everything that gets used indoors goes outdoors, and it stays in the living soil kind of veggie production type in the end. Yeah, I mean, shoot, if I am able to get a license someday for a commercial operation and I have a big warehouse, I'll go with living soil beds. But
hell yeah.
Or even Sohum. Sohum's getting used commercially. Like that has blown my mind. I've seen some amazing results on the commercial level with Sohum. And having worked commercial and having like mixed nutrients for rooms that, like, if you miss the decimal place, it's $250,000 worth of crop you just burned. So I could see where having something like that is beneficial. Oh
yeah. I don't think I can ever go back to liquid nutrients now at this point. I just love the ease of not having to worry about, should I give this one veg? Should I give it bloom? I'm like, I'm giving it water every time. That's all it's going to get is water. Maybe some recharge, but that's it. I don't have to guess.
Yep. And it is still important to be able to read your plants and read the symptoms. I've tried a few different brands, and I've had some that their batch wasn't mixed right. Like,
oh really?
I've had some where it worked great, didn't have to do anything, plants were beautiful, and then there were a couple where I'm just like, oh, you're deficient in this, and then I could look at a couple other that had that same bag versus a couple others that were a different bag getting the exact same watering, and I'm just like, well, that's interesting. So you do still need to be able to like read and anticipate the plants.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That said, it seems to be working out good with the Sohum.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, and with photo periods, they're not likely to run into any issues until it starts running out of stuff. With autoflowers, you're likely to run into an issue because it has too much of something.
Another freaking jam. I'm gonna start making a watch over here. That's rad, dude. Oh, what was I doing? I was looking down.
You were giving away some shirts, man.
Giving away the Sohums. Let's do that right now. So let me thank you. That actually, you have a coughed on shirt now. Yay. We cough. It's okay. There's no snot, I promise. All right, let's do that. So everybody maybe I should enter the thing, right? Okay, there we go. Everybody in chat, if you are in the US and you would like to win the Sohum Soil, we've got a size large t-shirt. That's what I've got today. So we've got the logo here on the front. We've got some coolness here on the back as well. And again, that came with the big old batch of stickers. And Donkey Kongington, if you really do just want some stickers, hit me up, brother. I know you can get a hold of me. I'll be happy to send you some stickers. Oh, here was another one too that they just kind of a cool sticker.
Oh, well, that's sweet. It's a comic book or something.
Yeah, nice. there we go. Just add water. It's alive. And of course, your doob tubes. Got to have the doob tubes. Comes in here.
Very important.
So yes, go ahead and just type in Sohum Soil into the chat, and then and I'll let you guys know this at the end of the show too. I've got 2 sets of these. So we're going to do one for people watching it on the replay as well. I'll have you type into the comments of the video later. But for now, to win this one, just type in the chat that you see going on the side, Sohum Soil. Because, yeah, you're talking with, whoa, hey, wrong button. You're talking with 2 guys that have been using it. So if you guys have any questions about it, definitely let us know in chat, and we can do our best to answer it, see if it's something that we've come across, something that we've run into. So definitely do that. And then we will get to the garden soon. I'm having too much fun talking here right now. we will definitely get to it. So I want to real quick go back to while this is collecting for the Sohum Soil. Oh gosh, good. I'm rad on the buttons today. Topping. So okay, so topping and training. Like what tech? So what are you doing as far as topping? Are you waiting for like a 5th node, a 3rd node, or are you waiting to see like, ooh, she gonna be a big one? Like what was the determination there?
It's watching and waiting and seeing what she does. If it's something I've never grown before, I leave it alone.
Nice.
I will clean up the bottom a little bit. I'll usually cut off the first 2 branches before they get very big, and then I'll do, I think I don't even know what they call it. I'll clean up a couple of nodes on the lower branches. It just doesn't get too messy down there. Yep. But if it's one I've never done before, I will leave it alone. If it's Dynafem Critical Plus, it's going to get topped 1 time, just above the 3rd node. If I'm growing the Cosmic Queen Mango Smile, I'm going to top it and then bend it and then probably top them again when they start growing back up. It is definitely strain dependent. There are some, like Mephisto Sour Crack, for example. That plant grows like a stocky pit bull. Every time I grew that plant and didn't top it, I got mold in my big colas in the middle.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I run my humidity at 40%.
That's low.
With a ton of airflow. It never goes above 50. On a side note, that's if there was ever a downside to having a perpetual autoflower grow, that might be part of it. We can get to that later if you want, when we talk about climate. But if I don't top that plant, I'll get mold because the center bud on that one gets so nasty and just fat. It's inevitable.
That sounds like one to almost avoid. You like that strain just for my climate? No bueno.
Oh yeah, outside, no, I wouldn't dare do it outside. But inside, I just planted 2 of them last week. We're gonna see. I haven't been in there today, so we'll see. One of them sprouted. I don't know if the other one sprouted yet. So we'll see when we go in. But that plant tends to not get very big. Okay. So that's one that you end up with a small plant that has like 6 or 7 little crowns going around in a circle, and you'll still get 3 ounces off of it, 3-4. I mean, I think the most I've ever gotten was like 4.5 off of one of those. But the bud is just top notch, man. So when it comes to topping and training, it's definitely strain dependent. Dynafem, I still have a few left of their Cushion Cheese was one autoflower that they came out with forever ago.
Sounds
and
good.
Dude, every time I grew that plant, man, it just grew and grew and grew and grew. I practically mainlined the last one that I did, and it still grew. I mean, I'm not a tall guy. I'm only 5'6", so this thing still grew taller than I did. I had to super crop the tops from growing into my lights towards, I was like, man, this thing just doesn't stop growing. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it's very, very strain dependent. Yeah. Some are going to love it. Some of them, if you top it, it's going to be like, oh, I'm done. I'm just going to flower right here. And that'll be the last you see of me.
Because that's what we all hear, that's the stereotype, I guess we should say, is the second you top it or stress it, it's gonna.
And it can be. I still hear, still see people saying, don't ever top an autoflower. And I'm like, I always say, I top pretty much all my
I've done
autoflowers,
it 1,000 times.
But I always give the disclaimer that I don't think I'm increasing the yield. I think I'm spreading it out and making better use of the canopy in the end. And that's really what it comes down to,
Yep. And
for me at least.
Yeah, and again, that's one thing that I love about doing the show is we get to see different grower styles, how they do it, and how it works for them. And let's get into it. Let's give away this Sohum soil pack here real quick, and then we'll get into your garden because I'm sure everybody out here is like, let's do it, man, because I'm dying to see it myself. So, all right, everybody, US only. This is for a size large Sohum Living Soil t-shirt, sticker pack, and doob tubes. We'll get that sent out to you. So, without further ado, should we turn this into the quiz question, or should we just roll the dice? How much hum could a soil sow if a Sohum could sow soil? I like it. I don't know the answer, so we'll just roll the dice instead here. Yeah, so we'll just roll the dice instead. Oh, I hit the stop sharing button. That was not the right button. I know. I kind of have like a happy mouse here too. I need to update my computer, and it sometimes randomly will like hit enter on things that I didn't mean to, which is not always good. Okay, so let me go back to it. Here we go. 47 entries. Giving her a draw. Good luck, everybody. Who's gonna get the t-shirt? Ooh, yeah, the Sohum swag bag. Dino North Troll. All right, Dino North Troll. Congratulations. That's a new name. Thank you for watching and hopping in and participating. Just let me know in chat that yes, you are US only, and you can wear that size large shirt, and I will get that out to you. You can get a hold of me to send your information on Instagram. That's all down in the show notes. And also our guests' Instagram and YouTube are down there as well. Yeah, so make sure you give Farmer Hatbeard here a follow. I need to plug in my computer. Glad that gave me a little warning there. You have low battery. Boom. Okay, the show will go on. Yay!
Woohoo!
I know. All right, so Dino North, I will look for your comments in the chat here. Congratulations. And well, shucks, Mr. Hatbeard, do you want to get to the garden?
Let's get to the garden. Yeah, I'm going to take you by hand probably, and I think I'll flip now what happens if I accidentally hang up on you?
Then which happens, just use the same link and come right back in. So if that happens, all right. No worries. I'll sit here and BS.
Well, I'm gonna try flipping my camera around here. Let's see here. Camera. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, because StreamYard, the system we use, they like to do it a little bit different. There you go. You got it flipped easily.
All right. We are flipped. Okay, so here we are. So first, I want to give a little plug to my puzzle wall
let me blow this up. Before we get started, that's badass, dude. So, we were talking about this the other night.
So yeah, this entire room is, well, not the entire room, but eventually is going to be covered in puzzles. My wife and I love to do puzzles, and I hate to do drywall. And we had some unfinished walls in here, and I just started sticking the puzzles on them. And yeah, so that's become a thing. And here's a door that's, everyone loves stickers, so I got all kinds of those. Electric Sky, may they rest in peace. Wow. It's kind of sad. All right, so you want to do photo or auto first? What do you think?
Let's go with the closest thing. I'd ask chat. What do you guys want? Photo or auto?
Oh, right here. Yeah, see what they say. I'm gonna shut off. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you right now. And just so you know, chat's usually about 20 seconds behind us. So in a couple of seconds, they'll get the question of auto first or photo first.
All right, I just shut off my air conditioner, my dehumidifier, so that way you'll probably be able to hear me a lot better than you did before.
Okay.
So as you can guess, this is the auto flower tent. This is my 4x8 Gorilla, and then my 2x4 is just some scum brand I got off of Amazon forever ago. I may change over to an AC Infinity at some point. I'll undo some zippers here.
Yep, they're good. We are getting dominantly photo.
Dominantly photo.
Dominantly
Well,
photo
shit.
first.
Then
We've
let's
got.
turn.
I know we've
Let's
got some
turn.
auto. We've got a
Well,
couple autos.
how about we do both? Photo's going to be a quick one because there's only one plant in here right now. So
Perfecto.
this is the wet from Cookies
Okay.
is what it's called.
Man, you've done
And
a sorry to interrupt. I'm just saying you've done a sexy job of branching that thing out. So please make sure to cover that madness, but don't let me interrupt. Go on.
yeah, no worries, man. So right now she's in a 3-gallon pot of Sohum. She started in a solo cup, then went to a 1-gallon fabric of Sohum, and now she's in a 3-gallon fabric of Sohum. Still haven't given anything but water. Thank you, WB growers. I just been bending her over and doing the training. You know, I try to shape it like the tent. So probably going to let these grow out to about here and keep stretching them down as long as I can, and then start letting it grow upwards. You know, until I don't know. Then I can take out. I like to leave my lights at the same height all the time, and then I raise and lower my plants. You know, right now I got it on 2 milk crates with a board.
Yep.
You know, and once she gets bigger, I'll get rid of the milk crates and put her down on the floor, and then work it up from there. But yeah, so that's going to fill up this whole thing when it's done. I'm really excited for that. I got my old school Electric Sky ES300 in here. This is a version 1, which is pretty cool. It said every time you get pissed off and bust a hole in the wall, you got to do a puzzle. I stay calm all the time, and I think that's because I smoke a little bit of pot constantly. And then I got my yo-yos up here. They kind of live here permanently for whenever I need them to be able to hold that lady up. And so that's the photo right there. Here, another cool thing. These guys, these white bars. I don't know. People probably seen them, right?
Yeah.
They're called it's called high CFM kit. They're awesome, and they're really damn cheap too. I highly recommend because this 6-inch fan really sucks the walls in on this tent, and these are very, very helpful.
Nice.
Right.
I've seen a few of the. Oh wait, go back. I've seen a few of the higher end tents have those. That's cool that you can order them separately because even like my AC Infinity tent or the Spider Farmer tent, they didn't come with them. So
no, they don't come. They don't. I bought the Gorilla Lightline set. It's a standard poles. For whatever the millimeter of a standard size. I think AC Infinity might even use a little bit thicker one. But yeah, the Gorilla uses the thicker poles. Really, honestly, the only reason I went with the Gorilla tent was because I was concerned about the weight of my lights. Because they are heavy. The ES300s weigh a freaking ton.
Okay.
I was nervous about them becoming like unhappy, pulling down. All right, hang on.
Well, that's a grower's worst nightmare is coming to smash plants because of light. So in that first tent, though, you had it and you were spreading it out, and that looked freaking sexy. But you were talking about you were going to extend it still further to almost the edge of the tents. What are you going to tie it down to when it gets out that far? Like, how do you?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that yet. But my thought process is, I'm thinking about using a milk crate. Like putting a milk crate beside it, so I can wrap, the little green twisty ties around it. Because I got the tomato wire, and then I've also got. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but this is old electrical wiring. Like a Romex 3 wire that I just cut pieces of, and it's super strong and wicked bendable, and it works awesome. I got a shit ton of it in the garage, and I just decided you can see a white one over here. I got a shit ton of it in the garage, and I just cut up pieces of it, and then when I ran out of that, I started using this green stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably try to keep it going at least another couple of inches before I'll top the ends. Once I'm ready to let it do its thing up, I'll top the ends, and then just flower it straight out into a big rectangle. Nice. The last one I did in here, we got almost a pound off of, which is fantastic.
That is fantastic. And
Yeah.
I do see Short High in here. He's like, hang some fishing weights. And yeah, that was probably something I may think of is like get little weights or something that's small that you could just like anchor and then tie down to on the extended parts. So
exactly.
A small footprint. So
I do. I could have my daughter build me something out of Legos too, because she's a fucking genius like that.
That's awesome.
I'm totally like, build me a ladder basically that I can tie stuff to, you know.
Wow.
All right, are we ready? Ready for the autos?
Yeah, we're ready for the autos. I'm sorry, I was curious on that one, and then it's kind of thinking about it. I'm like, okay, well that's what you can do. But then you just blew my mind with like Lego growing. You could probably build any piece of grow equipment you need out of Legos, like for
you probably totally could. You totally could. You might have to glue them together. All right, here we go.
All right, back to the show. Get me out of here. This is the auto thing. Oh, wow.
I'm just going to spray. I'm going to pull these right out here so I can show you. That way it won't get too in here either.
The first thing I notice is there's not a bunch of cords hanging, and it looks clean, and that makes my soul happy. Like clean, organized tents.
Tries to be OCD. Tries to be OCD compliant for sure. So you'll see right off the bat, my lights stay at the same height. I keep those two there, and I keep those two there, and I never move them. And I've got on the bottom here.
Okay.
I'm a
DJ, so I got plenty of them too.
You can buy them on Amazon, but anyone who's ever worked in retail before knows that they're pretty readily available. So anyway, So let's start right off the bat by looking and seeing if this sour crack is sprouted yet. No.
Oh, wow.
Not yet. No, it has not sprouted yet. Maybe tomorrow. I mean, they just went in the dirt on Tuesday. So I label them all on the sides. So these are Mephisto sour crack. And this is the other one that just sprouted this morning. I don't know if that's focusing any good or not. Right? So I'll try to go up the line here and show you them as they go. So in the back here, you'll see 4. Those 2 over there are Mephisto Forum Stomper. And they're, I don't have my calendar right here, but they're, I think, in week 2 right now. And then these are the new Mephisto testers over here. The old school Mango Haze, and then a Walter White BX1 right there. Moving over to here, these are also Mephisto testers. They just got a top dressing this morning with the earth dust and a big fat water. These are the Sunday Thumper. They're staying a little small, which is fine. It's a Mephisto's wedding cross. So, oh no, I don't think that's a wedding cross. I forget. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. Don't take my word on that. But speaking of the Mephisto's wedding, here's the next step up is the weddings. And you can see they're already starting to get, I am very excited for these ones.
A lot of trichomes.
Look at this one. This one's even better.
Wow.
Again, they stayed really short, and this one was, so this was an experiment here. Let me see. This lady,
let's see where you.
I just trained. Yeah, I busted the main stalk right here once to tip it over a little bit, and this one I actually tried to LST it a lot more. Yeah. But as you can see, they're about the same height. Maybe that one got a little bit taller. So in the future, I would probably top it once, I think. But yeah, look at that. This one here. I am super excited to try these out. This is my first run with those ones. And then moving over to the other side, we've got more Mephisto Man Bear Alien Pig. This is an older one they haven't had out for a long time. I think it was one of those limited editions that they put out. And as you can see, these ones are only on 1 crate because they got pretty tall. And they're going to be full. And these ones here are topped. You can see right here.
Early. Okay.
Chopped those once. And then I didn't do any other training on those. I did, like I said, I cleaned up. Now I take off these nodes because nothing's going to grow down here. You know, even the best lights aren't going to penetrate all the way down that far and make dense nuggets, you know?
Totally agree.
So, and then I did preemptive staking on this one because I knew it was going to get too heavy. So I like to go in early when they're still, you know, not sticky, not super sticky, and put in my supports and get them all tied in there and everything, so I don't have to worry. And then I use this wire and I'll wrap it right around and give like everybody else some extra support. And there's another one, as you can see, not a lot of phenotype variance there. These are pretty much
consistent,
very consistent, the exact same. Going back here,
nice to count on, you know, again, because you're trying to set lights or, you know, the floor at a particular height, and if, you know, five out of your fives of the same being are different, then so that's good to see, and that's why I asked the question earlier. So cool.
Yeah, you know, and if it gets taller, I take out the last milk crate and then it sits on the floor. So
I also love the genius. I'm sorry. The genius though of you're putting the stakes in, which people do, but then you're actually wrapping the wire all the way around, which basically you're like customizing a tomato cage. So that's awesome. Awesome.
These metal spikes. It's funny you say that because I got the idea from a tomato cage. These metal stakes are actually from a tomato cage.
Okay.
And I was gonna set up the tomato cage, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna make my own tomato cage with these things. And it works really well. I mean, I got all the main branches are supported by their own thing.
Yep.
You know, but then all the little satellite branches are all being held up by the wire, basically.
I can take advantage of that one. See, I'm learning stuff. I'm learning new things too. I like that. That's awesome.
And I always say do it earlier as opposed to later, because there's nothing worse than sticking your hands in something like this that's sticky and nasty, and then it's all over your fingers and everything.
Yeah. Well, nasty is not the word, but
I shouldn't have said that. So over here is the oldest plant in my tent, as you could probably tell by the way everything's yellow and falling off. This is a Mephisto cross of Northern Cheese Haze and an older one called Sour Bubbly. She just hit the 72-day mark. I didn't give it any water today. She's probably coming down the day after tomorrow. I checked the amber today, and it's probably about 10-15% amber, which is usually where I like it.
Is it 72 days of flowering or 72 days from seed? 72 days from seed.
Wow. That's
freaking quick.
And now, speaking of, we were talking about Humboldt Seed Organization earlier. Let me try to get this to turn back to regular color.
Some nice purples in there.
So this is the Lost Coast skunk I was telling you about.
Okay.
And
what are you smelling?
Double color. Hold on, I'll tell you in 1 second. Let me see. Grab it. Actually, a little fruity on this one. I've grown a ton of these, and there's definitely skunk in there too. There's definitely skunk in there too. I've grown a lot of these ones. I've been doing this one since the very beginning. Believe it or not, hold on, let me go look at my calendar real quick. Actually, we'll talk about that in a second. This plant is only like 8 weeks old from seed. Damn. Or 9 weeks old from seed. These particular strain grows probably one of the fastest growing I've ever seen for autoflowers. Because I mean, it's not ready yet, but you could harvest this plant today and it'd get you really fucking stoned. It almost looks ahead of that one.
By no means is it puny. Like, that's a fully developed freaking plant. Like, that short in such a time. That's great for people who are, like looking for medicine or need something quick. Maybe plant a few of those until everything else gets going if you want to. But
by the time these two are dried and harvested and going into jars, these ones will be ready to cut down. That's the glory of the Perpetual, and then you get all this space and you move everything down and it's like, hey, boom, we got more room over here. Let's put a few more plants in.
So you were going to talk earlier about the Perpetual and how that may be benefiting you. Do you want to touch on that?
I mean, for me, it's about the variety. I love having a constant variety. I like that right now I'm finishing up that iced and baked, and then in another couple weeks, I'm going to be smoking that Northern cheese back there. And then just moves right along. You always get something new. You don't get sick of the same thing. Um, and the fact that I could do it all. And here's a couple of perks too on the auto flowers and the Perpetual. Where I live, I have a lot of power outages. It could just be some random Tuesday when the power goes out for a day and a half for really no reason. Or, this past winter we had a big storm and we were out of power for 5 days. So as you could probably guess, I mean, we have a generator, but my generator is not capable of handling all of this. It's not capable of handling all this and the giant air conditioner and the giant dehumidifier. So what I do instead is I plug my photoperiod tent into the generator. That one, because that's nothing right there. And if it's when it's only one light on, I don't really need the air conditioner, so I can leave that off, and I can let the humidity. This plant is vegging, so the humidity can go as high as I don't care how high the humidity goes on there, but I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want that humidity in here. So I'll usually just plug in the dehumidifier and plug in the little tent. If the power is going to be out, and the auto flowers don't care. If you run out of power for 2 days, you might lose a little bit of growth, but they're not going to care about that at all. They're not going to get mad at you for it. I have this one Vivo Sun fan has been spinning in here for like 5 years. All the other ones that I bought died and have been since replaced by just regular old Walmart Comfort Zone fans that last a lot longer. But these clips, I kept the clips because these clips are awesome for holding the fan to your pole. And these right here, I just ripped off the Viva Sun fans and tossed them out and then clipped these guys right on it.
Look at you.
I try to keep all my wires pretty high up. As you can see, I've also got 2 big fans up here that are blowing down onto the LEDs. That helps distribute the heat a little better.
Yep.
And then up over there, I've got my AC Infinity exhaust fan that draws everything out. I don't use a carbon filter because I don't care what it smells like. And then these are my Cadillacs, my Electric Sky. God, may they rest in peace. It's so sad that they went. So this is a version 1, and then I've got a version. That's a version 1 too. And then this is the version 2. And then over here, you can see the spectrum difference. This is the version 3. They changed the spectrum pretty substantially for the version 3.
More red.
But man, they love that light. No, I apologize. This is the version 3 right here. This one. That's the version 2 over there. I put the version 3 higher because it's a 330 watt light instead of 300. So that's why I put that one up a little higher. So that's the newest one. I mean, like I said, unfortunately, may they rest in peace. Yeah. And then, I keep a camera for monitoring, and then I've got over here on the wall, I've got my AC Infinity controllers for each tent. So I can keep my, it's starting to warm up a little bit in here. But it was 81 degrees when I shut off the air, and I'm only at 83 now, which is nice. Wow.
Now, one thing I always like to ask, especially in grow rooms, where is your fire alarm? Smoke detectors. Where do they have?
I think it might be on the other. I think it might be in the other room.
There we go. Okay.
This all used to be one room. So,
that's waiting for puzzles.
There it is, right there.
Okay.
There it is. This wall is waiting for puzzles. But here, check this out. This is cool. So this is the inside of my door, and you can see.
I know exactly.
Whenever I jar up a jar, so here we'll go all the way over here because this is my very first harvest indoor of autoflower by Barney's Farm Blue Mammoth from September of 2014, and then there was this big Buddha cheese right there.
All right.
And ever since then, every time I empty a jar,
badass,
the tape comes off and goes onto the door. And as you can see, I've been at it for a while. I'm almost
holy shit.
I'm almost out of door space. I got a little more organized down here and started putting them, in a straight line. But I mean,
start writing smaller.
If there's a Mephisto strain that exists, it's likely on this door somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. That's something I like to show people, and every one of those jars, might had an ounce in it, might have had 6 ounces in it, depending on what size jar I put it on. But yeah, that's cool. And then this right over here was my very first unintentional breeding project where I missed a male flower and it made seeds, and I was like, oh, well, let's try and grow it. And I grew it, and it came out pretty good. and then I gave the rest of the seeds to my friends so they could try them out. So yeah, man, this pretty much covers it. That's what we got.
That is badass. I love.
Actually, no. You know what I could do? Let me turn my all right. Let me turn my air conditioner back on real quick, and then I'll take you into the drying room and show you that real fast. Let me just turn the air on. Dehumidifier and air conditioner. Okay. Now it'll get loud for a second. Walk away. We're gonna go through the house. Oh, we're gonna give a shout out to the dog. Shout out to the big boy.
Shout out. He's so cute.
I'm surprised he's not barking at me. So that's Vader, Lord Vader, we call him. He's he just weighed in at the vet yesterday at 200.4 pounds. And
kidding me.
That's Fez Dog, our little Fezzik. He's our old man. He's the one. This is the one who gets the CBD Rick Simpson oil. Okay. He's old, but he's a good boy. And now I'm surprised this one's actually not more excited, because usually when I'm talking on my headphones, he gets really excited. But they're lazy right now. They must have just eaten. So let me cut through here real quick. Just cutting through so I can show these guys my drying room. These are my boys right here playing their games. Hey guys. Say hi to Chad.
Hello. Oh, yeah.
All right, into the dry. Oh, it's a lot cooler in here right now. So this is my old 4x8 that I originally was my very first grow tent ever that I bought, and I've since repurposed it into a drying area. And this is where I do most of my planting. As you can see, I got some Sohum soil.
You're not gonna run out anytime soon, are you?
Dude, no, I just literally just picked it up the other day.
Oh my!
So yeah. The teenagers came in handy for that. Yeah, I just can't. I gotta buy it in bulk. It makes so much more sense than paying retail prices for it. And then this is the Coast of Maine seed starter that I highly recommend for starting your seeds. And I just keep my supplies. These are my 15 gallons. I got my 7 gallons. I got my 5 gallons. I got some shit back here that I hardly use ever anymore. Just stuff that I've gathered over the years. Some cocoa. I got some peat pots, my Corazze, here's my temperature thingy, and then the drying tent. Right now, we are drying a Girl Scout cookies from, I don't remember the seed bank. This was a freebie that I got a long time ago. I think it might have been Auto Seeds or maybe even G13, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. I can't put a light on, can I? Did I put my light on? No, probably not.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't want to hang up on you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you can see it. So anyway, yeah, this is just one plant. She'll probably do about 4 ounces. I'm guessing maybe 5. She got pretty big. I do use a carbon filter in here just because it's closer to my kids' rooms, and I don't want them. I mean, they don't. That's fine. I don't. I just try. But I haven't changed it in forever. And then I got my fan on the floor here, and then just some empty buckets. And then right down here is some bare-ass monkey that
ooh.
Yeah, Mephisto is a shit. So here, I'll show you that.
Nice looking nugs. I'll puff to that.
Yeah, let's see here. Let me get a nice one. This one got a lot of likes on Instagram. Of course, now I can't get it up because I'm trying to operate one-handed.
It's hard one-handed. You totally.
But that's the bare-ass monkey.
That looks like a dense nug there.
It's very dense. Yeah. These ones came out really good. I'm very happy with the outcome. I mean, I can never really go wrong with, oh God, that stinks. Oh, I wish you guys could smell that. That is like
describe it. Do our best.
This has been curing since last month. Pine, maybe. But like definitely some gas in there too, for sure. I almost smelled like I spilled gas filling up the lawnmower.
Yes, sir. That's what we like to hear.
And then there's just my trimmings over there that I use. You know, I give them to my mom because she doesn't like to get too stoned. So I give her the trimmings and she smokes those and makes her happy.
Are you using the flour to make the RSO then?
Yes, I am. I do. I have used trim to make RSO in the past, and the only difference is really just the yield. Let me flip my camera back over here. Oh, whoops! I hit comments instead. All right, hold on. Bear with me here. Go into my camera settings.
And everybody in chat is hoping that you are sponsored by Sohum, or they at least send a T-shirt to you next time. They're like, yes. Or actually, I like this one. It says, "Shit, give him a Sohum jumpsuit."
Tell him that Farmer Happywood wants a T-shirt.
Yes. Farmer Happywood.
That's funny. No, they're good guys. I've been in communication with them for a while, and they give me a great deal on soil, and and they let me try stuff that is unreleased, which is really cool. You know, so I get to be the go-to guy that gets to test their products, which is nice.
Nice, very nice. And so people were asking, one person said, "Send me your used soil when you're done." And then Donkey Kongington, he's like, "You can amend it." So, and I know on the commercial scale, they have been amending it and kind of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can amend it. Yeah, you sure can. I have a tear in my rotator cuff on my right arm, and it pisses me off on a daily basis. Well, it doesn't piss me off, but it hurts. And I'd rather let somebody else do the amending. When it comes down to it, I prefer the simplicity, you know, and I don't want to spend time figuring out, okay, what do I have to put in here? How many times do I have to mix it?
In the volume that you have.
In the volume that I have, exactly. And then, you know, by the time you're done mixing it and everything, you know, I can't sleep because the shoulder hurts. You know, I gotta have surgery to get that taken care of. Maybe after that, I'll try re-amending.
Right. And then, you know, I just bring mine outside, and then that's where it goes, and then that's where it gets reused and reused.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I do with mine. Yeah, and I give it. You know, my friends come from. Tell the guy who said to send him his old soil that he's more than welcome to come and get it, or he can pay for the shipping.
Oh, dude, shipping is expensive.
Forget about it.
For real. So
shipping, I guess soil is crazy.
Shipping's a good way to segue in. We've got one more giveaway. I realize we're getting close to 2 hours, and I've got another bag of beans, another bag. I got a big bag of beans, but we've got some more to give away from Mr. Toad, Boneyard Seeds NorCal.
Woohoo! All right, you give those away. I'm gonna zipper some stuff up.
Cool. Yes. Do your zipper. But we've got, and I'm going to do your choice. And again, this is USA only. So if you're in the US, you can play for your choice. You can either take the Ghost of Mary Jane, which is not focusing. See, I told you I suck at this too. All right, so the Ghost of Mary Jane is Ghost OG times Space Cheese. You can choose that one, or you can choose Space Utopia. Which Space Utopia. I've been told I have to use that voice, otherwise I can't. So Space Utopia is Shasha Main Cuddler. Shasha Main. Yeah, play that in Scrabble and see if you don't win. So Shasha Cuddler times Space Cheese. So I'm going to put a word up here in chat. And again, US only. You can enter to win your choice of one of these two. And I will get those mailed out. So let's see. Let me go over to our handy giveaway tool here. And we are going to use the code. What should our code word be? Joe, what's a good word we should use? Silence it is. All right, so silence is going to be the word. And here we go. So if you are in the US only and you would like to win yourself a pack of Boneyard Seeds NorCal for Mr. Toad, you get to pick again. If you would like to win one of these, go ahead and type silence into the chat. And dang it, Cheddar Bob, if I would have seen this like 10 seconds sooner, I would have made that the word. So, all right. So silence it is. Silence, go ahead and do that. Let's see here. Let me scroll back down. People are entering that in. Cool. There's no weird spelling going on, so I don't need to worry about that. All right. I'll put these to the side. We've got that. And again, I'll detail for you guys how to do the second Sohum shirt giveaway in the comments after the show. For everybody watching on the replay, we'll still make that available. And I will be better about getting with Hillbilly Herb next time to see if we'll have a Canadian drawing on the next show. So I apologize this show, Canadians. But y'all are so nice anyways. You don't even like mine. So, right? I wonder if they ever get pissed off about being stereotyped for being nice.
No, they're too nice. We have a cat from Canada, and that fucking cat is the nicest cat I've ever had in my life. Like, she is just so nice to everybody. It's almost sickening.
Even the animals. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But yeah, so some Boneyard Seeds NorCal. Freaking awesome stuff, Mr. Toad. He's a person, earlier I mentioned the channel Future Cannabis Project, where I do some other shows. He is on there.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And he drops a lot of good information for, just like breeding. I've learned a lot about, definitions and things from him. So definitely check him out. But he's been
definitely.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is he's been breeding for a damn long time. So
yeah, I'll have to you remind me of his name when we get off of here. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got some for you here if you'd like to try some autos as well. So we definitely get you out a pack.
Oh,
send you
right
a
on.
nice stuff as well if you're into that. Into the photos.
Yeah, dude, I'll definitely. I mean, when this one's done, I'm gonna start another one.
Right? Just one. I love it. It's like I always kill my plants. I kill every single one I start.
Hell yeah, you do.
But in a different way than you think. So cool. I've got, just a couple things written down here. Earlier you mentioned that you were testing, doing some of the testing for Mephisto, which again is a pretty awesome group to be testing for. So what exactly does that entail? Like, what do you do or need to do, or what makes them keep wanting to send you new stuff?
So apparently the only thing that you need to do is grow their plants and grow them well. That's what they told me. I mean, people ask, whenever I got these, these are the things that come with the damn camera. So, that's the thing. Okay. Walter White VX1. And then this one is the Old School Haze times Mango Smile. And then this is the Sunday Thumper that I'm doing the video journal for right now. They will contact you is what they don't always come in, because every time I post a new one, I get a bunch of people that are like, oh, how many seeds do you have to buy to get that? And I'm like, they usually say it's not about how many seeds you buy. Like, I haven't ordered seeds from them in over a year because I have so many of them. But they reached out to me, and basically the deal is they send you seeds and you grow them. And you have to obviously agree you're not allowed to breed with them. You're not allowed to sell them, or you're not supposed to give them away to people either. You're supposed to, you're the tester, you're the guy. And then at the end of it all, they send out a tester form that brings you to like a Google document where you fill out, they have these like surveys basically about the plant. How'd you grow it? What did it smell like? Did you encounter any problems? Was it sensitive to nutrients? Did you train it? Did you top it? What were your conditions like? And then send them pictures of it, basically. Sometimes they'll throw you my pictures on their Instagram, which is kind of cool,
Heck yeah, dude. That's always cool.
And sometimes they'll use your picture on their website to sell that particular strain too, and that's always cool.
Hell yeah. I screenshot that stuff and yay, put it in a little folder because that's again, it's nice to get kind of that peer recognition. Like when we smoke the end product, like we're happy. We know that we've done a good job or we haven't. But for an outside person, especially I would think of, Mephisto's caliber, I think they know what they're looking at as far as like good plants. So we've seen a few. So that's very cool that they were able to highlight you in that way.
Yeah, I totally I was totally humbled when they asked. I was like, "Oh man, I'm humbled." Geez, and they were like, we see your plants, man. You post plants all the time, and your pictures look great, and we like your process, and I was like, "All right, yeah, hell yeah, that'd be fantastic." So, and they also, sometimes they throw you some other seeds too, to as like a thank you for doing it for them. So I got some other seeds, and I probably won't have to buy any seeds for a very long time.
Yes, I'm in a fortunate similar position. Let's see, good to see Broken Scepter in here today. He says silence and run the draw, Chad. So all right,
run the draw, Chad.
We've got 60 in here for the Boneyard Seeds NorCal, again USA only. Good luck, everybody. Here is the draw. Winner, we will ask which one you want in chat and just confirm again for us you're in the US. But the winner is Turgid City. Right on. Congratulations, brother. That is a name I am familiar with. Seen you around just once or twice, maybe. Congratulations. So let me know. You can let me know here in chat, or I know you can hit me up on Instagram. Let me know there which one you would like. The Space Utopia, or the Ghost of Mary Jane. And I'm just going to tell you right now, there is no wrong answer to this one. They're both going to be fire. So whichever one interests you the most, let me know, and I will get that out to you. So
those are pretty sweet.
Congratulations again, Turgid City. Yep, let's see. I'll take the one you can't pronounce. That's awesome. So that's the Space Utopia. I'm sticking with it. Yes. Shush. See. Now, can you feel me? Look at that. Shashim. Sashimi cuddler, sashimi's cuddler times space cheese. 10 seeds coming your way, bro. Just hit me up on IG and I will get those out to you. So thank you for playing, and again, thank you for supporting, and everybody for playing and supporting the community here. I will stop sharing that.
Very cool.
And Cheddar Bob is someone who grows a lot of the Mr. Toad's gear, Boneyard Seeds NorCal. He says, I've got the UK cheese and flour right now. Actually, Cheddar Bob has grown so many of the Boneyard Seeds NorCal, he's got a strain named after him, the Cheddar Bob. So if anybody's growing the Cheddar Bob or has seen that one, picked it up, that's after Cheddar there. Right after Cheddar. Or Bob's Cheddar. That's the name of it. Sorry, Bob's Cheddar. Right? Cheddar Bob? Now you got me confused. But it's Bob's Cheddar. Yeah, no, Cheddar Bob and then Bob's Cheddar. 2 cultivars now, Chad. See, he even went with the cultivar over the strain because he drinks his tea like this.
Sponsor.
No, I'm playing with you. Cheddar Bob, what's the second one? What's the second one, man? Let us know in chat. And again, they're on a 20-second delay, so it'll take them a second. But,
of course.
Males. I had written down males here. Oh, Bob's Cheddar and Guerrero Blaster. Guerrero Blaster is not after you, buddy. Sorry. All right. So males, I had written down males, and you had mentioned, kind of maybe 4 or 5 things that they were requiring or would like to see out of their testers. All very simple, all very basic, common types of things. It's like, don't screw over the person who gives you free seeds, because if you don't, they're likely to continue giving you free seeds. So
right, how can you say no, right?
Yeah, and breeding was one of them. But with autos, I don't see very many like male female releases, a lot of them are feminized. Like, is it
Oh
actually
yeah.
common to find male autos?
No. I mean, there are companies out there that sell regular auto seeds,
Okay.
but the big ones, the Mephistos and the Night Owls and the Barney's Farms and the Dynafems and the Humboldts, they don't sell regular autoflowers. They only sell feminized.
Okay.
So yeah. But I mean, I'm sure they're out there. It would certainly make sense, you know.
Right.
But I guess, you know, if you're growing an autoflower, I guess, man, I don't know, if you're gonna breed, see, that's what Mephisto makes their own. They take photoperiod strains and turn them auto. You know, they're not breeding autos to make autos. You know,
Right.
they'll start from scratch. You know, so. But yeah, I mean, if somebody was interested in breeding, I'm sure if you did some Google male auto seeds, I'm sure you could probably find some. I don't
Find
see why
some out
not.
there.
Yeah, there's gotta be somebody reputable out there that does it.
Mhm. And then
Just don't buy them from a random guy on Facebook.
right. Because I mean, I guess you're kind of giving away the farm at that point. Really, it's like if you're giving people A and B and they'll get C out of it. It's like, well, they might not buy your stuff. That makes me wonder though. It's like breeding with autos is a lot more interesting. Because like when you grab a regular photo period to an auto, you have to go, I think, like 3 or 4 generations before you really kind of get
Something
that
like
trait
that.
locked
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But also you don't get the chance, like we are saying earlier, to clone it. So it's like I can't save my like princess out of the entire run and then be like, okay, I'm gonna hit you, multiple times. So
But you could reverse it. I know, from what I believe, the way Mephisto makes their seeds is they take clones and they pollinate the clones to get the seeds
okay. Well,
from preferred phenotypes. You know, so I mean, I don't work for them, so I don't know that for sure. But that's what I've heard.
and yeah, and I've not messed with the autos in that capacity, so that I understand, or I understand that I don't understand. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say
right.
there.
Exactly. There we go. That's a little better than
Let's
that
see.
big
Let's get
giant stuff.
to a couple questions we had during the show. Let's see. Grow King says, "Where can you get Sohum?" It is east of the Mississippi pretty easily. You can find it. It's now coming west of the Mississippi. Like actually, they're just getting a new distribution out here on the West Coast, which is rad for me
Oh,
because
nice.
I'm on the West Coast and
Yeah.
it's not easy to find it in stores. But that
Really?
should be a lot easier now with like we said earlier, shipping's a beast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
um,
exactly. And that's the main reason why I get it by the pallet. If I wanted to buy one bag of it, I would have to drive an hour and a half to a place down in Massachusetts.
yeah,
You
dude,
know?
the closest grocery store to me now literally is over an hour away.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, the only local place that we had went out of business several years back, and now it's I get my Coast of Maine at the local Agway because
Right.
I can't buy a pallet of that. I don't have any more room left.
Yeah, but I would encourage you, Grow King, check the website, the Sohum website, because hopefully they will have a like locator on the
Yeah,
website.
they have a finder. Yes, they do.
Yep, and if not, just email them too. I know they're an awesome group of people over in the office.
Yeah,
Good
they're
tight
good
knit
guys.
group. So if you email them, they'll get back to you.
Definitely.
Let's see here. Another question we had here is, what weeks do you top dress with Sohum in the 7-gal?
I don't use 7 gallon right now. I'm using 5 gallon right now. Oh wait, maybe he's asking you about the autopots.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think he might be asking you about the autopots.
With the 7-gallon, let's see, if you follow the schedule that Sohum gives you for duration times pot size, you won't need to feed. But I went an extra 30 days beyond what they would say, and so I knew that I was going to have to top feed. So that's when I top dressed. I did that in flowering, in the early flower phase, because again, top dressing is going to take 2-3 weeks before it's actually there and it's ready to kick in. So as that transition was happening, burning all those nutrients, I figured that'd probably be a good time to resupply it. So hopefully it has it as it exhausts it. So that was specifically in my 7 gallons. But how about you? Joe. Sorry, Lou. I was reading Joe's name on the screen.
I was reading it too.
I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like,
Joe stepping.
They're both 3 letters, but no, Lou. So when are you top dressing out there?
I usually, the magic day for me tends to be around day 30 in a 5-gallon pot. I have been experimenting with doing it a little earlier, and I have been experimenting with doing more than one. And I have had that I'm going to flip my camera around because I can show you I know a lot of people ask questions about my calendar a lot of times because it looks organized and cool.
I'll blow you up.
So let's see. So I've got my calendar here like this, and this is where all of my stuff takes place. So let's see. I just did an top dressing today on the Sunday Thumpers, and those I believe were at day 26. So I did it a little bit early, but I used a little more than I normally do because I want to try to push it. Then let's see. This is the second. I really put a lot into the man bear alien pigs because they got really big, and I feel like they're going to need the extra. So yeah, I would say depending on the size of the plant, at least between day 25 and day 30. And if it's going to need a second one, you're going to want to do it within 10 days of that. So maybe day 40, because like Chad said, it takes 2 or 3 weeks for that top dressing to start doing its thing. If you put it in too late, you're wasting it.
Yeah, and that's too, you almost don't want to, especially if your top dressing is like heavy in nitrogen. Let's just say it's a general top dressing. It's not specific for veg or flower. If there's a lot of nitrogen in it or high nitrogen and you're adding that mid flower, by the time it kicks in, not the most desirable time for you to have a bunch of nitrogen in the soil for the flower. That will kind of make it airy and a little bit looser. So
yeah, I definitely recommend getting a dry amendment that's specifically designed for flowering, because those tend to have a lot less nitrogen, like the Dr. Earth Flower Girl, Gaia Green, Power Bloom, the Earth Dust. You can't find it anymore. But then the one you said, the Grow Dots. And I mean, there's a lot of different ones out there too. Coast of Maine makes a Bud and Bloom. Fox Farm makes one too. There's a lot of them out there. And with an auto flower, it's probably better, to look at the instructions and see. I usually start with half of what the instructions say, just to be on the safe side.
Right.
I've done a little pushing on it. Like when I first spoke to the Green Sunshine guys, they recommended doing 1.5 cups of the Earth Dust. And I've been pushing these last ones with 2 cups just to see if I can, get them to do a little bit more. But on some, on a plant that's gotten smaller, I've only used 1 cup and it's been fine.
Okay. I guess that just makes me think now too, with feeding autos, and we're talking kind of, more or less food, which is more or less ppm, essentially in a solution. But with the autos, do you notice that you need to pH any particular level for your water or your solution? I know you said some can be nutrient dependent, so ppms will vary, but is pH pretty stable, or do you check that at all?
I don't check it anymore just because I've gotten into a routine. I'm fortunate I have a well, and my well water comes out. The ppm on the well water is only 22, which is amazing. So it's great water. It's fantastic water. The pH comes out a low at like 5.9. So it's in the area. So what I usually that's one nice thing about a good living soil is that as long as your starting water is in range to within reason, you don't really have to worry about it. I probably don't have to worry about pH with mine. And if your starting water is 7 or 6, you probably don't have to worry about it either, because the soil will buffer the pH for you. But what I do is every other watering or every third watering, I'll just pop a tiny bit of baking soda in my water before I water it to the plants to bring it up to that. I have a pH pen and I measured it, and I'm like, okay, if I put a 1/16 of a teaspoon of baking soda in a gallon of water, that brings the pH to 6.7. So every third watering, I'll put a tiny bit of baking soda in there. So I get that, that extra balance. Just it's more of a safety net for me to know that I won't have to, if I did end up having it too low, it could cause problems. But it's, it's just as important with autos, with pH. pH is just as important with autos as it is with photos. It's not as important with soil as it is in hydro. If you're running hydro, obviously you want to have your pH lower, but soil, it's not nearly as much of a concern. The more bigger concern would be making sure you get a good water supply. It doesn't have a bunch of stuff in it, because then if you're using living soil, you can add too much stuff that's already in your water that can bring up the ppms and cause you to have issues or lockouts or whatever.
You're right. The soil does have a bit of buffering capacity, and if your water is in that range too, you're probably safe. I guess as a good example too is the first year or two I was growing, I didn't really even know about pH, so I never pH'd my water. I just used what the tap was. Didn't know that and it was fine. I never had to do anything to it. And then I moved to a different house, and I was having issues, and I was like, connected the dots there, and I'm like, okay, I guess that other place was just kind of magic.
Yeah, no, it's true.
which leads me to a bad dad joke, which there is no bad dad jokes. They're all good, because I want Cheddar Bob and Claude to smile, because you guys are both cool, and I think you guys should just smile right now. So that brings me to the dad joke. What is a magician without magic? Or what do you call a magician without magic? It's just Ian.
Oh, I didn't want to spoil it.
All right. Well, thank you for playing along. I had to drop that one in there. So
that's a good one.
Thank you. I gave away these seeds. I gave away those seeds. We gave away the T-shirt. We'll have one more of the Sohum T-shirts in the chat, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But nice. I want to give you the floor. Is there anything that you would like to mention or talk about that we didn't? That's part one, because the floor is yours. And then part two will be, is there anybody or anything you would like to shout out? And I will also let everybody know already, your Instagram and YouTube are down in the show notes. So check those out, people. Follow him. Enjoy it. But I will turn the floor back to you for any topics or shout outs.
Ooh, any topics I would like to shout out. So first and foremost, I want to say hi to my family who's probably going to watch this. My boys will probably watch it, and they'll probably mention it on their Instagram pages because they have way more followers than I do. Let's see, any words of advice? Be patient. There was this guy named Yoda that a lot of you probably know, and patience was key for him. And I find that patience is probably one of the things that's gotten me through my learning experiences growing. Because even though I've been growing for 12 years inside now, I still learn new things and figure out different ways to do stuff. Like that little wrappy thing I was showing you with the twisty ties.
Yeah.
That's the first time. I didn't start doing that until, not that long ago, when I was like, oh, how can I do this either? I used to use, string. And then the string little fibers would get on the buds. I'm like, this is gross. And I'm like, well, I got a friggin' whole roll of this stuff. Like, why don't I just stretch out a big thing and just tie it, and I can reuse it, That's another thing too, like reuse stuff, don't worry, I don't reuse my grow bags. I give them away to friends. I use them for vegetables outside. But I hate cleaning them. So I'm going to say that I do not reuse them for my cannabis plants. And they've gotten so cheap now online that it's like, it's $1.60. Okay, I'm going to grow a 6-ounce plant in this thing. I'm not going to stress out about $1.60. You know what I mean? What else? Get good lights. Don't skimp on your equipment. If you're a new person just starting out, figure out your budget. I said this in the very beginning. Start with your budget and figure out what it is you're trying to accomplish. Don't start any seeds until you're ready to go and you have a basic understanding. Find yourself a mentor, a grow mentor. I'm pretty available. You can find me on Instagram. People message me on, my YouTube videos. People message me on Facebook. I help a lot of people grow. I'm not, you see people on these shows and stuff, and we're not unreachable. That being said, I'm not a scientist. I don't specifically even understand the science behind 90% of what I do and why it works. I just know that this is what I've learned and this is what I've figured out, and it works really good for me. And the important thing is that you find something that works good for you. If you like to reamend your soil, reamend soil. If you like to buy it new, buy it new. There's no, there is some wrong ways to do stuff, but I don't want to say
there are some.
There are definitely some wrong ways to do things, but
it's a wide street.
Right, exactly. But there's nothing wrong with experimenting and trying to find a groove that fits for you. I'm fortunate to be in-home care provider for my younger son, so I'm home all the time. So if my dehumidifier bucket beeps at me, I can just go empty it. You may need to have a continuous drain system because you might be on business in Ohio for 4 days and not be able to be there with your plants. It's a little different for everybody. But definitely be patient, enjoy it. If it doesn't spark joy, you're not doing something right.
Yeah, dude. Very, very freaking wise words. I'm sure people in chat have learned from you today. I know I have, which is always freaking awesome. That's fun.
Right on. And I've heard some really cool genetic names today from those giveaways, so that's pretty cool.
always got some cool genetics over here.
Nice.
But yeah, dude. And then well, you kind of did shout out some people. Was there any places other than the Instagram or website?
Not really. My YouTube channel, that's the big one. That's that's my YouTube channel is the big one. I don't have a ton of content, and I'm not great at making content, but the videos that I have, I've poured my heart into, and I hope you guys get a chance to go and check them out and enjoy them. The music is all original, played by myself and my band. So that's fun. You might like it, you might hate it. There was this one guy who said he really didn't like the music. He's like, dude, music sucks, bro. And I said, dude, if you want, I can send you the original full track so you can enjoy the whole thing in stunning high definition.
That's awesome. Internet's always got to have an opinion.
Yeah. And one more thing on the people who are starting to grow, write stuff down, keep track, keep a log. I have a Google document sheet with every single plant that I've planted in the last 3 years that I can search and scroll back to. So if I pull out a seed that I haven't grown in a while, I can go into my document and type in that seed and go, oh, okay, I grew it last time. This is how I layered the pot with soil. This is when I top dressed it. And then any notes about what happened during the grow that looked stunted or maybe ran out of food too early. So I can learn and do it differently the next time. Keep a good calendar. You see this calendar behind me. It's color coded. All the blue stuff is watering. All the black stuff, you're not going to be able to see it unless I turn my camera on. All the black stuff is the plants. I don't plant. My plants don't. See this right here. This is all my plants. That's let's go down here. So this is the Northern Cheese. That's the Lost Coast Skunk. That's the Mephisto's Wedding. That's the Man Bear. That's the Sunday Thumper. That's the Forum Stomper. And that's the test strains. So my plants don't all sprout on Tuesday. I plant them on a Tuesday, and then when they sprout, I start day one on the following Tuesday to keep them organized. So that way I don't have plant weeks written all over the place. And to boot, my plants are always 2 or 3 days ahead of what the thing says. So if the calendar says it's at day 70, it's actually at probably day 73 or something like that. But I'd rather be ahead than behind. And keep track of what you do. I cross off my days. I put all my waterings, how much water I gave, when I gave it. So now tomorrow or Monday when I go in to water my plants and I go to pick up the Sunday Thumper and say, oh, it's really light. Okay, well, shit, do I need to give it recharge? And I can go back to my calendar and say, oh, no, actually, I already gave it recharge last 2 days ago. So now I do this. The more information you can have at the ready, the better, and the less guesswork it's going to have to be.
100%. And when you have, rooms where you're managing a lot of different plants, or you have just a really busy life, whether it's kids, work, whatever, do yourself a favor, like you've done, write that stuff down, because that
Yeah.
clears space in your head, and it gives you like absolute, like, oh no, I absolutely watered it that day. It's like, did I get
Right.
it? It's kind of in the middle. What should I do?
Right,
You
exactly,
can resort back to
exactly.
it. So yeah, just those those little things, experience talks, and so that's one of them, man. So thank you for
For
sharing
sure.
that.
Oh, dude, happy to, man. Happy to.
Cool. Right on. Before we go, I want to give everybody one more chance to catch on to this little contest here. The Sohum, the t-shirt. We got a size large t-shirt here, and this is for
Wouldn't fit me
everybody
anyway.
watching the replay, or if you're watching it live, just wait till the video finishes, go in the comments, and you're going to type Sohum Living Soils. Let me make that a banner actually here, which I'm hitting buttons, guys. Watch out.
Oh boy.
I know I'm hitting buttons again. Banners, that's what it's called. Let's see here. So edit. Oh, I already typed this in. Was I prepared for this? The hell? Secret words, Sohum Living Soil. So if you type Sohum Living Soil into the comments below this video before the next show, which is in 2 weeks, in the next show, I will do a drawing, let you know who's won the t-shirts, the stickers, and the Doob tubes. And again, this is US only, just because shipping is a beast. So all that for y'all watching replay. This is the first one like it. We're going to give that a shot. Secret words, Sohum Living Soil.
Nice.
So with that, let's take this off the screen.
Dun, 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 dun.
And I'm going to have to say this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Like, I hope we get to do this again, even if it's not on camera. I'd love to have more conversations with you, because
Yeah, dude, I'm
great.
an open book. You know, like I said, I don't claim to have all the knowledge. I just have a thing that works really well for me, and I love to share it with people and help others, you know, get to that point where I can.
Yep. Well, guys, go and check out his YouTube and his Instagram. I appreciate y'all showing up today. Appreciate you guys hanging out and chat. And
yeah, I want to thank everybody who came out too to check it out too. This is awesome, man. I'm really happy to do it. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, man, it's been a great time. We've had over 100 people watching this entire time. So
nice.
A lot of love out in the community. And
very
I
hope
to see them out there again. I know I will. But for you, Mr. Farmer Hatbeard, Mr. Lou Whitaker. Lou! Every time I see you now, it's gonna be Lou. Right? It'll be the other side of, like, we'll be at the GGC Cup or some festival. You'll just hear Lou.
Like, why is everybody booing that guy?
It's that Chad guy. He's weird.
It's funny.
Well, cool.
That's
man.
right.
Thanks.
We prefer weird.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, cool. Thanks again for your time, and everybody out there, we will see you next time. Peace out, everybody.
All right, man.